Hello! We're going to be making a star basket today as an option for May baskets. This is my favorite to make. It's origami, so that's the art of folding paper. You can see some of the paper folds there. Now you can make this with about whatever paper you have. I grabbed some magazine paper just in case you have that. It might be a little tricky because it might be a little flimsy. You can use regular paper. Heavier cardstock can be tricky. I grabbed some scrapbook paper, so if that's what you have, that will work too. Now, my scrapbook paper is actually square, so that would be good, but I'm going to show you how to create a square using a rectangular piece of paper. So the easiest way, since we're already going to be folding this, is to line up the edge and kind of make sure that your corner makes a nice point, and then you want that edge to be nice and straight, and then I'm going to spread my thumb across and then nicely crease that edge. So you want that to be as straight as you can. Now, after doing this for years and years, because we used to make these a lot when I was a kid, I've gotten pretty good. So my creases are pretty tight and my lines line up pretty nicely, but that takes a lot of practice. So don't worry if your first one is not. Now, to create the square, I'm going to trim right along this line. So my edge, you can also draw along there if you'd rather, but I'm going to take the shortcut and cut right along here. And then you can save that for another project. You can also probably do this with newspaper, even though I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So we have a line down the middle, and now what I'm going to do is match these two corners up. So again, try to get them as close as you can. Now I like to hold one hand here and then smooth down and let it crease. Now, before you go any further, if you would like to decorate your paper, you can put a little bit of drawing on there. You can make a picture, or usually best to do a pattern because some of this will get folded up. We'll kind of see which will be, this will be the outside of my box. We'll just put a few hearts. You can keep going and add some more to your design if you'd like to. But again, I'm going to keep this a little bit short. So I'm going to open it back up, and now you see I have an X. And now instead of folding this to the corners, I'm going to fold the edges together. Again, try to match up the best you can. And we have all of our lines coming to a point here on the outside. All right, we have one more to make. So you can see our X, our line down the middle, and now we're going to create a crease right here. Match them up again as close as you can. And even with all the practice that I've had, I still have lots of corners that don't always match up exactly. So don't worry about that too much. Okay, we're going to fold it back corner to corner. And then the next thing, this is where we start to get a little bit tricky. I'm going to lift this up. We're going to make these corners fold the opposite direction. So I'm pushing this corner in. We're going to make it fold the other direction. So since we have those other creases, it should start to fold along those creases. And we're going to make this press down. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for this one. So I'm going to pop it up and basically just push this corner so that it folds inside. And now we're back to a square. Now with these wings, I have the open side away from me. With these wings, I'm going to take this open edge and fold it toward that center crease. The great thing about origami is most of the time you're lining up folds that you already have or creases that you already have. So I'm going to fold, do the same on both corners. Again, lining this up at that center. Kind of crease those corners. And now we're going to flip it over and do the same on this side. So again, bringing it to that center line. This is the open side. You don't want to get it mixed up with that fold. We're doing the open side into the center, folded into the center. That will be important because our next step, I always love to do this one, we pop it open. So if you can see, we're going to take that, push that crease down, and so hopefully you can see this, but that crease lines up with the inside crease. And again, we're going to repeat that on each of those wings. So we flip it over and do the same on these two wings. Sometimes this is fun to do with double-sided paper because you have a design on the outside and a design on the inside. All right, so now this is going to be one of our star edges. So you can see that starting to take shape. Now I'm going to push these together. So we're kind of flipping this. So I'm going to push these two sides together. And then on this side, push these two sides together. So we've flattened it out on the other direction. And then we're going to take this wing, kind of do what we did over there, and we're going to, again, bring this edge back to that center line. So folding it in, and it should fold pretty easy. You can kind of just push it and crease it if it doesn't, but it should be right along where we had a fold. All right, my next wing is taking shape. So I'm going to flip it over, do the same, fold these into that straight edge. Into that line in the center. And now we're ready to fold down the wings. So I'm going to fold down this edge just right to about where those other flaps are, where you can see the edge of the paper. I'm going to fold that down. And I like to flip it over and do the back side. Now again, we're going to open this up, fold that star side down. And we've got one more to go. So I'm going to open up this one and fold that side down. All the while, I keep kind of creasing just to kind of make sure everything holds together. Now, if you creased everything well, you should be able to kind of open this up. Now, sometimes I run into the problem that as I'm opening it up, these parts pop back out. If that happens to you, just kind of try to tuck it back in. So I'm going to hold the wings down and do this gently because we don't want to tear the paper. But I'm just going to push my fingers inside. You can kind of see it's starting to take shape. And then push into those corners. And there we have it. All right. You can put little dandelions in here. I like to put popcorn and sometimes little candy treats, but there you go.